The factories of Manchester, the railways of Britain, the wealth of Europe. We are told they were built on genius, on invention, on greed. But behind the steel lies blood. Blood money that had to be washed clean. Blood money that became the foundation of modern Europe. How do you turn the profit of human misery into the engines of an industrial empire? In the 17th and 18th centuries, the transatlantic slave trade was not a side issue. It was the world's most profitable business. This was the source of the capital, the blood. By 1800, nearly half of Britain's overseas wealth was tied to slavery. The wealth was unimaginable, dwarfing any other trade of the age. In cities like Liverpool and Bristol, docks were built to accommodate the slave ships. While Britain transported over 3 million Africans across the Atlantic, Brazil, Portugal, and other European nations were responsible for millions more. This was a vast European engineered system of extraction. In the American colonies, the system was built to last. So that means if there hasn't been anything that happened, if there hasn't been any change, the status quo would have remained till today. In 1662, Virginia passed the first law in British North America mandating hereditary race-based slavery, ensuring that a mother's status would now follow the condition of the mother. In a nutshell, let's assume Shola's mom is a slave. Automatically, Shola becomes a slave. That is what he said.
Smith, born in Africa and long past her 110th year when she died in 1937, lived to see the hard lot endured by her generation.
But this
and
wealth
that of
was
her
tainted
children.
blood money, and blood money cannot be left in the open. It needed a financial laundromat. This is the part most history books skip, the laundering process. The profits were funneled into the very institutions we still recognize today. Banks accepted human beings as collateral. So, like today, you go to your bank, you can present so many things for liquidity, for facilities rather. You might present maybe your business and your landed property and so on. But in those days, they accepted people as collateral. In London, institutions like Lloyd's of London grew rich insuring slave ships. Between 1/3 and 40% of their premium income was slavery related, but the ultimate act of laundering came from the highest level of government. The Slave Compensation Act of 1837 paid £20 million to the slave owners for their lost property, a sum worth over £76 billion in today's economy. A single man, John Gladstone, was compensated over £93,000. So meaning the oppressed were ignored and the oppressor were compensated for their aggression. So terrible, not so? Not a single penny went to the enslaved. This was a debt so colossal that British taxpayers were paying it off for nearly 2 centuries until it was finally settled in 2015. So that means it was paid for nearly 200 years. The blood money was now clean, sanitized by an act of parliament. It was capital, ready to be put to work.
What they call, we were slaves. We belonged to people. They sell us like they sell horses and cows and hogs and all like that. Have an auction bench, and they put you up on the bench and bid on you, the same as bidding on cattle, you know.
Now, The money was clean. But where would Europe pour this fortune? The answer would change the world forever. The laundered capital now had a destination: the factory. In 1830, the world's first intercity railway opened between Liverpool and Manchester. Guess the primary cargo: slave-picked cotton. Up to 80% of the cotton processed in Manchester mills came from the enslaved labor of the American South. The connections were direct. The Glasgow sugar aristocracy reinvested their Caribbean fortunes into Scotland's industrialization, and the famed inventor James Watt's steam engine company was partly funded by plantation wealth. Don't forget that the owner of the famous Barclays Bank mill, Samuel Gregg, also owned a slave plantation in Dominica. The infrastructure of the modern world, built between 1760 and 1860, was founded on a foundation of laundered money. The same capital that flowed from human suffering was transformed into the very engines, railways, and factories that built an entire empire.
You know, how emotional it was and what they went through. You know, you try to put yourself into their physical being and to understand what they went through, and it's scary.
But if slavery's profit beats Europe's wealth, what legacy did they leave behind for us today? This isn't just history. The laundering was so effective that we forgot the crime. But the legacy is etched into our world. As historian Eric Williams showed in his landmark 1944 book, Capitalism and Slavery, the economic realities of slavery were a primary cause of its rise and decline. As historian Joseph Inikori once said, slavery was not a sideshow to Europe's industrialization. It was the foundation.
I'd get up at 4 o'clock and get my breakfast done. Just at dawn of day, I go to the field and we pick cotton.
Mr. and Mrs. Haywood Jenkins of Sharkey County, Mississippi have, between them, picked cotton for over a century.
We walk past these buildings every day. We see progress. We see ingenuity. But we've been taught to see everything except the truth. This is not just European history. This is our history. To understand the skyscrapers, the railways, the fortunes of Europe, you must follow the blood in the steel. The story of slavery is not just the past to remember. It is the foundation we all still live upon. The British government passed the Slavery Abolition Act in 1833. It paid slave owners £20 million in compensation in 1837. The debt for this compensation was finally repaid in 2015. The enslaved received nothing. Did Europe ever truly pay? Did Europe ever truly pay its debt? If you enjoyed this episode, kindly touch the subscribe button, share, like, comment. Let's know what you feel.
When a slave died, Massa made the coffin and sent a couple of niggas to bury the body and say, "Don't be long, and no singing or praying allowed. Put him in the ground. Cover him up. Hurry on back to that field."